everyone, it is the Bookatarian here for another video. Today I decided I wanted to recommend some reads that I really enjoy that have morally gray and or really great villainous characters. And I love doing tag videos. I think it's one of my favorite ways to film a book recommendation video is by doing a tag. And one of my most recent acquaintances on BookTube, CC Reads, created an original tag that takes my favorite TV show, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and my favorite video, book tags, put them together to make the Spike book tag. Spike is one of my personal favorite characters of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so this tag is just right up my alley. I will link her original video up in a card on this video. So the first prompt is a lovable villain, a villain that made you fall in love with them. And for that one, I don't know if Holland is necessarily a villain. He's probably more along the lines of an anti-hero, but he's certainly depicted as the main villain in the first two books, so I would say Holland from White London of the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy is definitely one of my most lovable villain characters. Probably love him more than I enjoy Lila's character. Prompt number 2 is monster. Name a villain who is monstrously evil, or something along those lines. So The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. The mayor of Prentisstown is easily the most evil villain I have ever encountered. And he's so unapologetically evil. He never takes responsibility for anything he does, and he's so charismatic that he basically talk you into doing literally anything, which I just think adds to his monstrosity. But yeah, he's got to be one of my favorite villains. So prompt number 3 is swagger. Name a snarky and sarcastic villain. The villain in Loki, which is oddly enough not Loki himself, even though he is depicted as a villain in the Marvel Universe. There is another character in here who is even more villainous than Loki is, and she is so snarky and sarcastic. She's got a bunch of really good one-liners throughout this book, and it just made me laugh a lot of the times, the banter that happens between her and Loki. So number 4 is pet. Name a strong and compassionate romance. The romance between the villain in this story is such a good one. It's honestly probably one of my favorite romantic plots that Marie Lu has ever done so far that I have read. There's still quite a few books that I haven't read that she's written, or like 2 books technically, Sky Hunter and the sequel to that, as well as The Kingdom of Back. Kingdom of Back is probably more interesting to me right now. Anyways. This is the best romance that she has done to this day. Like, her romantic plots just keep getting better and better, and I don't read her books for the romantic plots, I read them for the characters and their growth, and the plots are usually very good. But yeah, the romance was very well done. So number 5 is Fool for Love, a book that made you cry or upset, basically. And the book's falling down. That's great. Okay. So I cried. I'm not a huge book crier per se. Many a sobs were had when reading A House of Earth and Blood, Crescent City Book 1 by Sarah J. Maas. But yes, this was a very emotionally impactful read that made me, a relatively tough reader, sob. So number 6 is the Yoko Factor, which is name a manipulative character. And it doesn't get much more manipulative than Nova Artino from the Renegades trilogy. She is ridiculously manipulative, and she kind of has to be because she is a villain posing as a hero to invade the hero society to try and take them down from the inside. So she definitely needs to be manipulative to keep her cover a secret. Number 7 is The Big Bad is Back. Name a true morally gray character. And for that, I have Juliet, what's her last name? Juliet Tsai. Juliet Tsai from the These Violent Delights series. I don't know if that's what the series is actually called. Oh, crap. Renegades is by Marissa Meyer. Anyways, These Violent Delights is by Chloe Gong. This is her debut novel, and like I said, Juliet is my absolute favorite morally great character because she is the potential leader of this gang that runs in her family for a long, long time, pretty much, and she will just go and beat someone to death for information with like no emotion. She doesn't hesitate when it comes to the people she cares about. Okay, so the 8th prompt is everyone stoned here? You name a anti-hero or a snarky main character. The first book follows the main character Sage, who is the main character of the Ascendants series, and he is probably the most prominent anti-hero, at least in the first book, that I had ever seen up until the fact that I read this book. I have read many other anti-heroes since then, but Sage is by far my favorite. Number 9 is Empath, which is a book that changed your perspective on things, and for that I have Nimona by Noelle Stevens. This was the first book, well, it's a graphic novel. This was the first story that I read that put villains as the main perspective. We follow the big supervillain who is looking for a sidekick, which happens to be Nimona, the title character, who is a shapeshifter. And it basically follows the story through their perspective, and I thought it was different at the time, which it was, because like I said, this was the first book I'd ever read from the perspective entirely of the villains and what they see when they're going off and doing their supposedly villainous things. Prompt number 10 is Life is Just This. It's living, and that is choose a book that helped you grow. And for that I have Moxie by Jennifer Mateo. This is probably my favorite feminist book of all time, as the feminism is so heavily there. I don't like the movie nearly as much as I love this book, but it really helped me come to realize that I am very much a feministic person as far as my ideals go, and it helped me grow into the specific type of feminism that I want to be known for. Now those are all of the prompts for this tag. Thank you so much to CC for creating this tag. I had a really fun time filming this video. And as for tagging people, I don't like to single out specific people to tag just because I feel like I'm leaving people out if I do tag specific ones. So I will just say, if you want to do this tag, go right ahead. Just make sure that you give CC Reads the appropriate credit that she deserves for creating this tag when you do it. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you want to, and hit the notification bell by the subscribe button so you can get properly notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video soon. Bye.